You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas, unquestionably. You've got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That is not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You've got to keep moving and keep plugging away. In the Far East, they have something that's called the Chinese bamboo tree. The Chinese bamboo tree takes 5 years to grow. And when they go through a process of growing it, they have to water and fertilize the ground where it is every day. And it doesn't break through the ground until the 5th year, okay? But once it breaks through the ground, within 5 weeks, it grows 90 feet tall. Now the question is, does it grow 90 feet tall in 5 weeks or 5 years? The answer is obvious. It grows 90 feet tall in 5 years, because at any time that person stopped watering and nurturing and fertilizing that dream, that bamboo tree would have died in the ground. And I can see people coming out talking to a guy out there watering and fertilizing the ground that's not showing anything. Hey, what you doing? Been out here a long time, man. And the conversation in the neighborhood is, you growing a Chinese bamboo tree, is that right? Yeah, that's right. Well, even Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder can see ain't nothing showing. You know that's how people gonna do you? So how long you been working on this? How long have you been working on your dreams? And you have nothing to show. This is all you got to show? People gonna do that to you. And some people, ladies and gentlemen, they stop. Because they don't see instant results. It doesn't happen quickly. They stop. Oh, no. You got to keep on watering your dream. And when it began to happen, they stopped laughing. They said, look, whoa, look here. Look how, hey, man, you know, I know you could do it. Look here, you got a job here? See, during those hard times, we didn't know how you're going to make payroll. During those times when you failed and things didn't work out, they were nowhere to be found. But you know what I discovered? When you're working at your dream, somebody said the harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. Oh, it's sweet to you. It's good to you. Why? See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. Oh, it's something that you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror, you're a different kind of person. You walk with a different kind of spirit. And people know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You knew it was hard, but you did it hard.
By the way, let me give you a secret. You're going to laugh at this. Why am I telling you this? You know squirrels can't find 74% of the nuts they hide? Is that a fun fact or what? No, I'm serious. These little fools, they can't find 74%. They did a study on it. Is that crazy? Look it up. Well, I'll prove it to you. Check this out. Look at it. I read interesting things. Go to Elmo. This is a breakthrough. This is like a breaking news. This should be on CNN tonight. Now it can be told. All about squirrels and nuts. That's what I read when I'm at home. Now it can be told. And let me tell you, scientists have long thought that gray squirrels, which are far more common to the eastern seaboard than their red cousins, can not only remember where they dug their holes, but also smell the nuts they've buried. But they must not be too good at either skill, since studies show they fail to recover 74% of the nuts they bury. Right there. Why does that matter? Because you've been burying your dreams all your damn life. And guess what? You keep thinking you're waiting for the right time. When winter comes, you go find your little acorns, right? You think you're going to find them? Let me tell you something. You keep burying those dreams, the longer you wait, the harder they are to find. It's time you dig those things out right now and find them and put them right in front of you again and go chase them. Say you're with me on that. Jamie said it earlier and I said it. You absolutely can have it all here. You can have a great family and a great business and a great financial situation and feel great about yourself and travel the world and do whatever the heck it is you want. But you need to dig those dreams out right now. I want you to start picturing, what is it that you really want? Why are you really doing that? Really? Is it for any of those people sitting around you? Do you want to make any of them proud of you? Do you want to prove all of them they were right? Do you want to do wonderful things for your children? Do you want your children to know they can do anything in life because you've done anything in your life? God made you and believes in you. He's around you all the time. He wants to bless you. He wants you to do great work for people. The more you carry him with you into your phone calls and your meetings and the interactions with people, the more he'll bless them. There'll be setbacks. There's going to be people be mean to you. That's all part of the process. That's part of the jockstrap. That's part of the best day of your life, worst day of your life stuff. But let me just tell you something. You can't get there unless you invite those people with you. Now, are you willing to do the ugly, by the way? Do you know what the ugly is, right? The ugly is doing all the stuff the people who lose aren't willing to do. You got to make those phone calls. You got to see people. You're going to have to put up with some rejection. You got to put yourself in an uncomfortable place. Listen to me. Do it. Put yourself in an uncomfortable place. Don't negotiate it. Don't try to navigate it in your head. Negotiation, you will lose. Okay? Unrealistic people rule the world. Quit trying to be so daggum realistic. Okay? Remember this. Weird, rich, normal, poor. Can you remember that? Say yes. Get a little goofy. Look at Cardone. He's a complete whack job, just so you know. You got to get a little road dog in you. People are looking for leaders. People are looking for you. They don't know it yet, but they're looking for someone who will love them. Introduce them into people that can change their life. Believe in them. Care about them. Tell them the truth. This company stands for something good. We do what's right for families. You should be proud of it. We do great work every day out there, changing lives across the kitchen table, conversations at a Starbucks, a meeting at a convention, a conversation across someone's kitchen table that changes lives every single time. It changes lives.
Maybe you heard the story about the evangelist here in Texas way back in the horse and buggy days. Used to put up his tent in, these various Texas towns and hold tent revivals. And he put up his tent, one of these towns, expected a big crowd to come and hear him preach. And he got there first night of the tent revival, and he walked inside the tent. It was empty. And he thought, something must be wrong. He waited till 8 o'clock. Nobody showed up. He waited till 8:15. Not a soul. Finally, 8:30. One lone cowboy wandered up on his horse, tied his horse up outside, came in, sat down on the front bench, big empty tent. So the preacher thought, well, at least I better go down and talk to the cowboy. So he goes down and talks to the cowboy, and he says, Cowboy, I don't know what to tell you. He said, I'm the preacher, and this tent was supposed to be full of people. And he said, something's gone wrong. I really don't know what to do. I'm embarrassed. And he said, I don't know what to do. And the cowboy said, well, I'm not a preacher. I'm just a cowboy, so I can't tell you what to do. But he said, I know this, if I went out to feed my cattle and only one showed up, I'd at least feed it. So the preacher said, hey, the cowboy is right. If you've got a message to share, if there's one person or 1,000, don't let your ego get in the way. You should do the best you can. So he got kind of inspired by this conversation with the cowboy, jumped up on the platform, started preaching as if the tent was full of people. And he was so inspired, he just kept going, went for an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. Finally, wound down and quit. Come down off the platform, talked to the cowboy again, said, well, cowboy, what did you think of my sermon? The cowboy said, well, I'm not a preacher, so I can't really tell. I'm just a cowboy. But he said, I know this. If I went out to feed my cattle and only one showed up, I'd feed it, but I wouldn't dump the whole load on it. So, if it seems like we're dumping the whole load here today, I guess we really are. But you guys are working hard. Does anybody have 4 pages of notes? Oh, wonderful, wonderful. My job, I'm getting it done. Wonderful. We should give a prize one of these days for the most notes. Fantastic. I congratulate you. You're working as hard as I am. I appreciate that. Okay, we got some more work to do, so let's go to work. Everybody's okay? Say, I'm okay. I'm okay. All right. I'd love to take you with me as my traveling audience. Wow. We've covered the first 2 abilities in the personal development quest. One is the ability to absorb, don't miss anything, pay attention. Good watchword for the 90s, pay attention. Things are moving so fast these days, you gotta pay attention, pick it up, soak up the colors, soak up the sounds, soak up what's going on. Second, respond, let life touch you. Let the emotions affect you as well as the sights. Now here's the third ability, develop the ability to reflect. Reflect means go back over, study it again. Go back over these notes that you're taking today. Go back through the cassettes one more time. Read the text one more time. But there's more to it than that. Go back over your day. I call it run the tapes again, so that the day locks in firmly. Here's some good times to reflect. 1, at the end of the day. Take a few minutes at the end of the day. Go back over the day. Who'd you see and what'd they say and what happened? How'd you feel? What went on? so that you capture that day. A day is a piece of the mosaic of your life. Number one, don't treat it casual. Number two, get from the day. And then number three, go back over the day so that it locks in that experience, the knowledge, the sights, the sounds, the panorama, the color motion picture of the day. Just lock it in so that it will serve you for the future. Having that day, not missing. Next, take a few hours at the end of the week called time to reflect. Go back over your day timer. Go back over your calendar. Go back over your appointment book. Where did you go and who did you see and how did it feel and what went on? Capture that week. A week is a pretty good chunk of time. Next, take half a day at the end of the month called time to reflect and do the same thing again. Go back over what you read. Go back over what you heard. Go back over what you saw. Go back over the feelings to capture it so that it serves you. Next, take a weekend at the end of the year to establish this year now firmly in your consciousness, firmly in your experience bank, so that you got it, so that it never disappears. Good ability to acquire, the ability to reflect. Go back over. Remember, remember, remember. It's so valuable to be able to remember the thought, remember the idea, remember the experience, remember the occasion, remember the day, remember the weather, remember the emotion, remember the complexity, remember the highs, remember the lows. So valuable at the end of the day. Lock that day in. Lock the month in. Lock the week in. Lock the year in.
Well, listen, on the way to accomplishing your dreams and visions, there's going to be a lot of challenges. There's going to be a lot of setbacks. It's not going to be easy, and discipline is a huge part of it. But more important than discipline is your faith. You are a religious country. If you do not hold on to your faith, whatever it is, you cannot make it. You can't. I'm sorry. I don't care what your faith is. Without your faith in God, along with the discipline, you will never make it. You cannot get to the top without faith. If you get to the top without faith, it's temporary. It will not last. You have to stay focused, because listen to me, it's really, really hard to be successful. Let me tell you this. Look at me. It's really, really hard to be successful. But I want to tell you something else. It's really, really hard not to be successful. I've been both. See, you see me today, but you didn't see me in school when I had a severe stuttering problem. I couldn't talk without a stutter, and I flunked out of school. You're looking at a man who was homeless. I lived in a car for 3 years. Me, you see all of these TV shows and Suits and Hollywood, but I lived in a car for 3 years. I made a lot of mistakes. You have got to be really, really focused, because challenges are going to happen all throughout your life. You're going to be told no over and over and over again. You're going to have people in your family who will not believe what you tell them. I'm going to be a TV star. No, you're not. No, you cannot. You cannot be a TV star. No one in this family is a TV star. No one in this neighborhood is a TV star. No one in this school is a TV star. And you stutter. And you black. So what? Now you're going, whoa, I cannot stop being black, so this is with me. So my focus and my faith, my belief in God, He has kept me through all of my dark moments. When I was living in that car for 3 years, God, He kept me. He kept me understanding that He was just testing me, that I had to pass all my tests. That's what happens to a lot of old people. See, they stop passing the test. They thought that because something happened to them negative along the way, that it wasn't meant to be. That's not true. It was just a test. You gotta keep passing the test. You dig? Life is never going to be just, you just can't, silly. You can't just, happy. No, something gonna happen. Somebody you love gonna die. Something you want to happen won't happen. Something you attempt to do, you're going to fail at it. This is life. This is all the time. So the dream that you have has to be bigger than all your problems. My dream was so big, it was bigger than all my problems. So when I was homeless, my dream was bigger. When they told me no, my dream was bigger. When they said you are black, we will not hire black people here, my dream was bigger. What? Bigger. My dream was bigger than all my problems. and my faith in God, what they gonna do? What? When you have God, you have everything. You have everything. That's serious business. That's the business.
I want to give you a quote from Ralph J. Corner, who said this at a leadership conference when he was chairman of the board of General Electric. He said, "We need from every person who aspires to leadership a determination to undertake a personal program of self-development. Nobody is going to order a person to develop. Whether a person lags behind or moves ahead in his specialty is a matter of his own personal application. This is something that takes time, work, and sacrifice. Nobody can do it for you." Now that, my friends, is good advice. Start living that advice. People who reach the top rungs in business, engineering, selling, law, real estate, medical care, people who reach the top rungs in any pursuit, get there by following conscientiously and continually a plan for self-development and growth. That's exactly what these tapes are about. Now, any plan for success has to have three components. The first is the what component. You've got to know what it is you're trying to do. The second is the how component. How do you go about accomplishing your goal? And the third component is the payoff, results. In this plan for success that you're developing now, the what component is built on the attitudes and techniques of successful people. How do they manage themselves? How do they overcome obstacles? How do successful people earn the respect of others? Now, the how of this plan for self-development and growth is a series of concrete guides for action, like the one you've just heard for developing self-belief. You'll be hearing more of these. Let me emphasize that these guides work. They've been proven countless of times by thousands of people. I urge you to try them and see for yourself. This leads to the third component, results. Let me tell you what results you can expect, and I assure you that conscientious application of this plan will achieve them. Your personal training program for success will bring you greater respect from your friends and family. It'll bring you the admiration of your business associates, greater status, increased income, and a higher standard of living. Think of this plan as an experiment, and you're the scientist in charge. You already have a fully equipped laboratory in which to work and study. That laboratory is all around you. It consists of the people in your life, the people you see on the street, the people you work with, the people you live with, and of course, yourself. This laboratory is rent-free, and there is no limit to the amount of time you can spend in it, nor to what you can learn from it. So, as the director of this laboratory, you'll want to conduct some observations and experiments. I want to give you an experiment to start with right now.
To conduct this experiment, pick the two people you know that you feel are the most successful. If you want to, jot their names down in the booklet. And then pick the two most unsuccessful people that you know. And as you follow this plan for self-development and success, come back to the set of names and observe how the principles and ideas that you'll be hearing apply to these people. Anytime you run across an attribute or a practice that pertains to successful people, recall the names you've picked and see who it best applies to. And do the same for the unsuccessful attributes that you'll be hearing. For example, self-belief is the important attribute of successful people that David Schwartz has described. Which of the people you've picked does it apply to? If your experiment bears out the results of others who've conducted it, you'll notice that successful people adhere to the techniques and methods of positive, big thinking, while unsuccessful people display the attributes of self-defeat and mediocrity.
Now, one of the first attributes I think you'll consistently notice among unsuccessful people is a disease that is one of the biggest enemies of success. I call this disease excusitis. Here's what excusitis sounds like.
I don't know if I can do this job. I mean, this is really out of my league. I'm not a genius, you know.
Well, I'd like to take on more of the work that would really be important to me, but I really don't see where I have the time to do it. I'm really rushed now just to finish the work that I already have. I can't imagine how I would find more hours in the day to finish more work.
You know what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, and believe me, this old dog is just too far along to start anything new at this point.
Look, with my health the way it is, I just do what I can to get by. I'm not about to press my luck and give myself a heart attack.
Sounds pretty awful, doesn't it? And if you looked at the lives, ambitions, and accomplishments of these people, I can tell you what you'd find. Not much. A lot of mediocrity. In case after case, Excusitis is the difference between the person who is going places and the person who is going nowhere.
If you don't know exactly what you want, or you let yourself get beyond that into something general, you're not going to achieve it. Clarity is power. You got to know the specific result you're after. What do you want? Why you're doing it? Because you know what? You may get a big goal. Somebody says, I want to make $1 billion. I want to bring peace to the earth. Why? Because as soon as you come up with a goal, all the obstacles show up.
There are moments in our lives that we feel completely alone. We feel as though no one knows what we're going through. It is because of the uniqueness of the challenges that confront you are so unique to you that you feel like I'm up against it all by myself.
So you got to get yourself past that. And the way to get past that is have enough reasons. Reasons come first, answers come second. To ask intelligent, you got to know why you want it, have enough drive to make it happen, enough juice to make it happen. If you don't have enough reasons, you will not make it happen. What is going to get you to actually fall through? Because the first plan's not going to work and the second plan's going to work, so you better have enough plans that if the first two don't work, you still got something else. Otherwise, you're going to be having excuses why it didn't work.
In what you've done with your life thus far, is it giving you what you want? Is it giving you what you want? When you look toward the future, when you look at all that's going on out here, is there some place within yourself you say, hey, I know I need to be out there in that arena. I know I can do more than what I've been doing. Is that something that you begin to look at within yourself? See, I say if you look at your life, and if you're not getting what you want, you owe it to yourself to do something differently. If you're on a job, 85% of Americans go to jobs that they're unhappy. If you're doing something 8 hours a day that you don't like, it's not giving you what you want, it's not giving you a strong feeling of satisfaction and fulfillment, if that's what it is, you owe it to yourself to start strategically working to change directions.
And generally, that type of circumstance is born because it's not because you don't have anybody to talk to, but can you trust them? Eventually, even the most disciplined amongst us, the corners of your mouth will droop down. Your smile will turn into a frown. Eventually, even if you have to wait till everybody's gone to sleep, a tear will run across the bridge of your nose because you're dealing with stuff that is so deep and so complicated that you feel like you're in it by yourself. But you are not alone in the battle. You're not alone in the struggle, that God has a strategy. And when it's all over, you're going to see that even though you couldn't see him, he was there all the time.
Most people will resist change. Most people will fight change as if change would be worse than what they're experiencing. Most people will not challenge the unknown. They won't just step out there. See, there are certain things that's got to be in place. They got to see it all together. And life isn't like that. That's not how you grow. As you begin to look toward the future, begin to know that whatever it takes for you to create that, you got that. You've got genius in you. You've got goodness in you. If you decide to take the initiative to change the current quality of your life, I say to you that you will find that the universe is on your side.
What do you do when you tried and failed and you want to quit and you want to give up? Because trying again means hurting again, means risking again, means believing again, means hoping again. Sometimes you can be blessed and be unhappy because even though things are going right, they're not going according to what you had believed and expected, and you know that something is missing out of your life. What do you do when something is missing out of your life and the things that replaced it do not compensate for what you lost?
I've always been told how average I can be. Always been criticized about being average. But I want to tell you something. I stand here before you, not listening to those words, but telling myself every single day to shoot for the stars, to be the best that I can be. Good enough isn't good enough if it can be better, and better isn't good enough if it can be best.
Turn your wounds into wisdom. You will be wounded many times in your life. You'll make mistakes. Some people will call them failures. But I have learned that failure is really God's way of saying, excuse me, you're moving in the wrong direction.
Other than death, all failure is psychological. Other than death, all failure is psychological. Think about that. If you aren't dead, then it's just psychological. It does not mean that you won't lose some battles, because you will. We all will. But it does mean that as long as you don't surrender, as long as you don't give up, as long as you don't quit, then you haven't failed. It just means you've made a temporary tactical retreat, a brief withdrawal, so that you can regroup and reattack. If you get beat, unless you're dead, you are not defeated. And you have not failed. What you've done is you've learned. You've gained experience. And you're still alive. So get up and go get after it.
We all live in this bubble. What you got to do to get the life that God wants you to have, you got to put more air in your bubble. You got to blow your bubble up. Expand yourself. Take yourself out your comfort zone. Put some more air in your bubble. If you stay in your comfort zone, that's where you will fail. You will fail in your comfort zone. Success is not a comfortable procedure. It is a very uncomfortable thing to attempt. So you got to get comfortable being uncomfortable if you ever want to be successful.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up, being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere, when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit. So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. If you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it. You got to have passion.
If you think ordinary's cool, ain't no problem. It's some really wonderful ordinary people. But if you are sitting in this room and you have extraordinary aspirations, then you're going to have to do extra. You put extra on top of ordinary and you come up with extraordinary. It's no other way. But here's the fact. All of you have extraordinary capabilities. All of you. You have to decide if you are willing to do the things to put you in that category. Rich people don't sleep 8 hours a day. That's a third of your life. He who loves to sleep and the folding of hands, poverty will set upon you like a thief in the night.
You don't have to live worried, focused on the problems, wondering why it happened. You know a secret. You have favor in the storm. You know what was meant for harm, he's turning to your advantage. Here's the key. The enemy wouldn't be fighting you if you weren't a threat. Oh, get ready. Favor is about to turn things around. Favor is about to catapult you to a new level. Favor is not going to keep you from the storm, but favor will bring you out of the storm. We don't understand everything that happens. Sometimes life is not fair, but you have to trust that God knows what he's doing.
This thing called life. You just don't know what the next moment will bring. But here's what I do know, and I want you to know. You have comeback power. When something happens to you, don't buy into what has happened to you. Buy into, I'm getting up out of here. I'm going to change this situation. This does not work for me, and I don't have the luxury of being depressed and angry. I need to clear my head. This is no time to do something stupid, like hurt yourself. No, 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 no.
So get serious about your goals, business goals, financial independence goals, family goals. I mean, there's so many things to work on this. And if you don't get busy and work on it, sure enough, the time will pass. And sure enough, 5 years from now, you'll wind up where you don't want to be, wearing what you don't want to wear, driving what you don't want to drive, being what you don't want to be. Now's the time to fix it. Your goals are affecting you, whatever they are. Your goals affect your attitude, personality. All day long, we're being affected by our goals.
You got to clear your head so that the decision that you make represents the best in you. People who don't stop to clear their heads, they react. They don't respond. Be still and know that you're going to get through this. You're going to get through this. And you don't want to be radical. You don't want to be erratic. Just be still and know, I'm going to get through this. You got to assure yourself. You have to encourage yourself. You have to clear your mind.
Your better future is a dream. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to see? You've got to dream dreams. Without dreams and visions, people perish. You've got to have something to go for. Take the crumbs from starving soldiers, they won't die. Take the bread from hungry children, they won't cry. But without dreams, we all will die. You've got to dream. Don't lose your dreams. Becoming something unique on your journey here, don't lose your dream. That's long-range goals. Got to have those. Because if you set up something short-range, go for it. Get it. Latch onto it. Work hard. Accomplish it. That starts building your strong feelings to go for your dreams. Economics plays a major role in everybody's life, which means it ought to be meticulously well planned for tomorrow.
The area of life that matters clearly to all of us is time. And most people have very little mastery of this. I don't mean checking things off your list. I'm meaning squeezing out of your life what matters to you most. Your career, where is it now? Where are you financially compared to where you want to be? And especially with some of the changes that have happened in the economies around the world. And then finally, where are you in your level of sense of meaning, of contribution, and your sense of celebration in life? These are the areas that really matter most. Sit down and define what this looks like for you today. And invariably what we find out is almost everybody has some gaps. Gaps between where you are and where you want to be. And even if you've done incredibly well, I mean, I deal with some of the most successful people in the world, they're usually still happy in their life because they're hungry. They haven't lost that drive that says, look, what makes me feel alive is to know I'm growing. If my life's going to get better, I got to get better. I can't just hope it. And if my life is going to be rich emotionally, it's got to be expanding. And they know that. If you work your tail off at work to take care of your family and be the best at what you can do, your career's going really well. Isn't that the nature of human beings?
To me, successful is getting to the point where you are absolutely comfortable with yourself. It does not matter how many things you have acquired. The ability to learn to say no and not to feel guilty about it, to me, is about the greatest success I have achieved. The fact that I have, in the public side, done whatever, it's all a part of a process for growing for me. But to me, to have the kind of internal strength and internal courage it takes to say, no, I will not let you treat me this way, is what success is all about. I will not be treated this way. I demand only the best for myself.
We tend to focus on things we feel confident in, we know what to do in, and the other stuff we kind of hope it all comes together and try not to think about it too much, but it all affects us. You got to start with what it is you really, truly want now. You got to start with that end in mind. And then once you understand there is a gap between where you are and where you want to be, here's all we do. We believe that the most powerful way to change anything is total immersion.
No matter what happens to you, it ain't over. As long as God wakes you up, that means he ain't through with you yet. And if he wakes you up, you got a shot to correct it and get it right. And he kept waking me up. So I figured, okay, God wakes you up. That also means that he has something for you that you've yet to receive.
You could take my car, I could get another one. You could take my house, I could get another house. But when you take my time, you have taken something from me that is totally irreplaceable.
Even if you are 40 or 50 or 60 or 70, doesn't matter. You're in the game now, and that's what counts. And all those quote-unquote wasted years, they weren't wasted because you learned. Learned about what it's like to be weak, and the knowledge that you learned about those things is fuel to make sure that it never happens again. Because you know what is out there, and you know how bad it can get. I say you embrace what you learned from the weekdays. Let them make you even stronger. And you use your own personal transformation that you've made in life, use that to help other people transform and get on the path as well.
If you know what it is to have the kind of pain that feels as if you cannot be comforted, if you know what it is to be at the end of your rope and feel like your life is over and you've got questions that cannot be answered and you're confused and you're uncertain, you need to learn this verse. They that sow in tears shall reap in joy. I will never forget there's been many opportunities in my life that I have grappled with grief and pain so unbearable and so overwhelming that I thought that I would never smile again. I've seen days that were so dark for me that I thought there could not possibly be a silver lining in the clouds that hung over my head. I've seen days and weeks and months that drugged me so low that I gave up all hope of getting up again. But in the midst of all of that despair and that trouble and that trauma and that pain, there was in the basement of my soul this one word, when.
When should you start the day? As soon as you have it finished. Plan the day the best you can, leaving plenty of room for improvising and surprises and all the stuff that happens during the course of the day. But if you've planned a good, productive day, now you start that day, you can't believe how much more valuable your time will be. Next, don't start the month until you have it finished. The places to go and the people to see and the productivity and the sales and the customers and the development and all the rest of what you want to accomplish during the course of 30 days. And then here's the big one. This is really challenging. Don't start the year until you have it finished. To the best of your ability. It can't be finished like minute by minute. But in terms of the sweep of what you want to accomplish, make sure that that's set and ready to go. And it might get all upset. It might get torn up and you do a new one. You make so much progress the first 90 days that now you've multiplied it all by 2, by 3. Because that happened to me. I thought, wow, this is going to be a great year. By the time I'd finished the 3rd month, I'm rolling. So many things are happening. I revised my whole year's plan. Don't let anything overly bug you. Because remember now, you don't have to do anything. Someone says, well, I got to get a handle on my time. The answer is no, you don't. If you want to let it all go, you can let it all go. Somebody says, you ought, you ought, you ought. Jot this down. Ignore all the you oughts or you should. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your time. Take charge of your resources, which we're going to talk about next. Take charge of your health. You're the one that's responsible for it. It's not a requirement of society that you not have a heart attack and take care of your family, but you must make it a requirement of yourself.
You will be okay. Nothing has been wasted. Like I say, successful people don't make the right decisions, they make their decisions right. And you have an opportunity right now to make things right inside and out. When you say you're depressed, you've got to understand that depression is the opposite of expression. So what you're literally doing is stuffing down and depressing something that wants to come up and rise out. I wouldn't be surprised if you had like jaw, ear, or neck pain having to do with expressing yourself, speaking your truth. So yeah, you're depressing yourself. Stop it. Speak up, speak your truth. Now, right, once you get that off your chest, now it's time to turn the flashlight in and discover what your truth is.
We are living in a generation of the dumbing down of ideas because we have traded effectiveness for busyness. We are so busy and we think because we're busy, we're effective. But I want you to challenge your schedule for a minute and ask yourself, are you really being effective? Or is your life cluttered with all kinds of stuff that demands you and drains you and stops you from being your highest and best self? And are you substituting busyness and all the chaos that goes along with busyness from being effective?
It's easy to get faked out by being busy. Guy comes home at night all exhausted, falls in the chair and says, oh, I've been going. Here's the big question, doing what? It's not the going. Some people are going, and they're doing figure eights. So don't mistake movement for achievement.
There's a lot of things you could take from me and I could make it. You could take my suit, I got another one. You could take my car, I could get another one. You could take my house, I could get another house. But when you take my time, you have taken something from me that is totally irreplaceable. We do everything except the most important thing is to value our time. It takes time to be creative. You were meant to be creative. You have creativity. If you had time, you would be creative.
Better have a valued goal, because otherwise you can't get any positive motivation working out. And so the more valuable the goal, in principle, the more the micro processes associated with that goal start to take on a positive charge. Well, you get up in the morning and you're excited about the day. You're ready to go. What you do is you specify your long-term ideal. You do that in some sense as a unique individual. You want to specify goals that make you say, if that could happen as a consequence of my efforts, it would clearly be worthwhile. The question always is, why do something? Because doing nothing is easy. You just sit there and you don't do anything. That's real easy. And then the next question might be, well, where should you look for worthwhile things? And one would be, well, you could consult your own temperament. So you do a structural analysis of the subcomponents of human existence. And you need a family, you need friends. Like, you don't need to have all these things, but you better have most of them. Family, friends, career, educational goals, attention to your mental and physical health, etc. You know, that's what life is about. And if you don't have any of those things, well, then all you've got left is misery and suffering. So that's a bad deal for you.
Don't mistake courtesy for consent. If somebody's pleasant and they nod, you say, oh, they're going to buy. No, they're courteous. You can't mistake courtesy for consent. Now, here's a big one, concentration. I had to learn this. All those years ago, I'm in the shower trying to compose a letter. Found it turns out to be a strange letter. So here's what I learned to do. Save the work till you get to the office. Save the work till you get to the work. Don't try to get to the office on the way to work. On the way to work, enjoy the way. In the shower, enjoy the shower. Then go to work when you get to work. Concentration. Learn to say no. I'm telling you, in such a social society we have now, it's so easy to try to be a nice person, saying yes, yes, yes to everything. Find yourself overloaded. Now you got to call and make well, gosh, you know, all the time it takes to back out of something that you said yes to too quickly. Here's what might be better. I don't think so, but if that changes, I'll call you. Little things you can use not to overcommit yourself.
But once you set up that goal structure, let's say, and that's really who it is that you're trying to be, you aim at that. And then you use everything you learned as a means of building that person that you want to be. And I really mean want to be. I don't mean should be, even those things are going to overlap. That's fine, except you'll fail all the time then. You just won't know it until you've failed so badly that you're done. And that can easily happen by the time you're 40. I would recommend that you don't let that happen. Okay, so once you get your goal structure set up, you think, okay, if I could have this life, looks like that might be worth living. Anxiety-provoking and threatening, and there's going to be some suffering and loss involved and all of that. The goal is to have a vision for your life such that, all things considered, that justifies your effort. Then you turn down to the micro routines. It's like, okay, well, this is what I'm aiming for. How does that instantiate itself day to day, week to week, month to month? And that's where something like a schedule can be unbelievably useful. It's like, make a damn schedule and stick to it. It's not a bloody prison. Set the damn schedule up so that you have the day you want. That's the trick. It's like, okay, I've got tomorrow. If I was going to set it up so it was the best possible day I could have, what would it look like?